Ooh, look who wandered in. The one face they couldn't classify, couldn't catalog, couldn't file, under anything predictable. Surprise. You thought the cameras were harmless, didn't you? Just little glass eyes, blinking in the ceiling, watching the crowd, watching everyone. But they weren't watching everyone. They were watching you. And somewhere, in a cold little room, full of analysts who don't know how to breathe, without permission, your face showed up on a monitor. They paused, rewound, zoomed in again, and that's when the numbers started glitching. The symmetry ratios broke. The biometric patterns didn't match any category. The algorithm flagged you as an exception, an anomaly, a contradiction wearing skin. They tried to rerun the scan. Oh, you should have seen their hands shaking, because every time your face reappeared, it triggered the same alert. This one doesn't fit. And the minute the CIA realized that you weren't normal, predictable, or containable, oh, that's when the fun began. And that's when I started paying attention. They ran your face through the machine like it was nothing. Routine, standard procedure. A little scan, a little blink, a little click. Just another civilian passing through the grid. But the moment your features hit their servers, everything shuddered. Monitors froze, code stuttered. A ripple went through the room, small at first, like a breath held too long, then bigger, like a fault line waking up beneath their desks. You weren't supposed to cause anything. You weren't supposed to register. According to their files, you were neutral, forgettable, background noise wearing a human face. But you didn't scan like noise. No. You scanned like interference. Your symmetry ratios refused to land. Your micro-expressions refused to classify. Your biometric pattern didn't match any profile template. Not threat, not civilian, not asset, not sleeper, not anything the computer was built to understand. And that's when the alarms started. Not loud ones, the quiet ones, the scary ones, the ones that only pop up when something is wrong, at the level no one is trained for. Internal alert, non-conforming facial metric. Secondary alert, predictive model collapse. Final alert, manual review required. Manual review, do you know what that means? It means the system gave up. The mighty multi-billion-dollar predictive engine tapped out, threw its hands in the air, and whispered, "I don't know what this is." And the analysts, oh, you should have seen their faces, pale, still, like they had just watched a ghost pass through a metal detector. You weren't detectable, because you were never meant to be, categorized, but you were too real to ignore. And that's the problem, darling. Algorithms don't fear enemies. Algorithms don't fear threats. Algorithms don't fear monsters. They fear anomalies. And you are the anomaly. They prayed would never show up on their screens. The glitch that wasn't a glitch. The error that wasn't an error. The face that broke their neatly numbered world simply by existing. Welcome to their nightmare. They thought the first glitch was a fluke, a hiccup, a harmless little error that happens when the system's tired, or the servers are running hot, or someone spilled coffee in the wrong place again. So they ran your face through a second time, then a third, then a fourth, because denial is a beautiful, stupid thing. But every time the results came back, the pattern was the same, no pattern. Your micro-reactions didn't dance the way they should. Normal faces twitch in predictable rhythms. Muscles fire in rehearsed little sequences that psychologists spent decades mapping, measuring, labeling with fancy names, meant to make them feel like they understand people. But your face moved like a contradiction. Too calm where people should be nervous. Too sharp where people should be soft. Too still where people should be chaotic. Too alive where people should be numb. You broke every behavioral formula they brag about at conferences. Every expression recognition model stalled, like a car losing power on a quiet road. They tried mapping your emotional signature. The system spat it out. They tried assigning you a temperament class. The screen refused to load. They even tried overlaying predictive grids. You know, those little web-like patterns, that tell them who you should be and what you should do next. But every overlay warped. The moment it touched your image, like the system itself knew, you wouldn't stay inside the lines. You became a paradox in their files, a ghost with fingerprints, a calm storm, a quiet explosion, an equation with missing pieces that somehow still equals something terrifying. And that's when the analysts started whispering, not loudly. They're trained better than that. But in those tight, breathless murmurs people use when they feel something creeping up behind them. They couldn't predict you, couldn't model you, couldn't tame your data into something obedient. You weren't behaving correctly. You weren't playing along. And do you know what institutions fear the most? Not danger, not rebellion, not even violence. They fear unpredictability. And you, darling, you are the kind of unpredictable that rewrites rule books just by breathing. They finally did what bureaucrats always do. When the machine stopped making sense, they escalated straight to human analysis, straight to the experts, straight to the people who think their degrees and their decades of training can explain the unexplainable. They pulled your file onto the big screen. They dimmed the lights. They leaned in. They studied every pixel of you, like they were hunting for the crack in a diamond. And the first profile came out wrong, so they rewrote it, and the second profile collapsed halfway through. So they rewrote that one too, and the third, well, that one contradicted itself so violently. The lead psychologist walked out of the room, muttering something about logical impossibility. You broke their templates, the same way you broke their machines. 1 minute you read as high stability, high focus, the kind of mind that could sit in a burning room and still think clearly. The next minute the analysis flagged you as volatile, unpredictable, someone who could snap the entire operation in half without raising their voice, calm and dangerous, controlled and explosive, centered and untouchable, a paradox in a chair. Your empathy markers fluctuated, like they were caught between two radio stations. Your risk index refused to settle on a number. Your projected long-term behavior glitched so badly. The system simply replaced the text with a blinking dash. So they tried manual overrides, they tried forcing categories, they tried dragging you into one psychological lane or another. But the moment they stamped a label onto you, your profile updated automatically, as if your existence itself rejected their definitions. Subject does not conform. Subject exhibits inconsistent trait clusters. Subject appears to be multiple profiles simultaneously. Even their language broke trying to explain you. And that's when the realization sank in. Quiet, slow, terrifying. Even if they watched you for years, followed your patterns, charted your choices, monitored your heartbeat through walls, they still wouldn't understand you, because you're not a personality type. You're not a category. You're not a forecast, or a prediction, or a box they can check on a form. You're something else entirely, a self-updating profile, a living contradiction, a moving target that redefines itself every time someone gets too close. You weren't rewriting yourself to confuse them. You were just being you, and that was enough to terrify an entire agency. They should have stopped at the third failed profile. They should have shut the file, closed the room, pretended you never crossed their grid. But curiosity, curiosity is a disease, and these agents, they caught it bad. So they leaned in closer, paused the footage, scrubbed it frame by frame, zoomed in until your face filled the entire wall. Every line, every flicker, every silent little truth you never said out loud. That's when it happened. Not a glitch, not an alert, something worse, something human. They started recognizing things, not about you, about themselves. A twitch they'd buried years ago, a stare they learned to hide, a tension in the jaw that only shows up when someone's lying to themselves. Your expression didn't expose you, it exposed them. The room went quiet, the kind of quiet That doesn't come from respect, but fear of what's staring back because your face didn't behave, like a suspect's face or a civilian's face or a threat profile. It behaved like a mirror, a brutally accurate one. Every agent who watched the footage found a reflection of something they'd rather amputate from their memory, a mistake, a regret, a moment they swore nobody could see, but you saw it without even trying, without even knowing. And the worst part, you didn't flinch. Most people recoil when confronted with someone else's truth. Most people look away before the reflection bites. But you held that stare like you'd been doing it your whole life. Like other people's secrets were just background noise to you. The agents weren't analyzing you anymore. They were defending themselves from what your presence revealed, because when they looked closer, they didn't see a threat. They didn't see a monster. They didn't see a prodigy or a weapon. They saw discomfort, accuracy, recognition. And nothing terrifies powerful people more than the realization that someone out there can see straight through them without lifting a finger. You didn't just appear in their system, you appeared in their conscience, and that's when they knew you were going to be a problem. Fear is manageable. Fear is predictable. Fear is something agencies are trained to turn into paperwork, protocols, task forces, briefings filled with dramatic underlines. But what you stirred up, oh, that wasn't fear. Not anymore. It was urgency. A shift, a tightening of the room, like the air itself decided to obey a new hierarchy, one built around you. The moment your footage hit that fourth-level analyst's desk, it stopped being an investigation and became an operation. Calls were made, meetings were pulled together, in rooms with no windows and clocks that don't tick, because time isn't allowed to exist there. Your name wasn't spoken. No, they weren't that brave. But your presence filled the room, like smoke that refuses to leave. They didn't fear what you had done. You hadn't done anything they could write on a file, or add to a report, or charge someone with. They feared what you could do, the undefined, the unmeasured, the uncontainable. Powerful people hate potential. They don't hate unpredictability. They can't hate individuals who don't fall into one of their little management categories. And you, darling, you weren't a person to them anymore. You were a variable, a factor, a pivot point that could tip the scale without lifting a hand. So they began drafting contingencies, not for something you did, but for everything you might. Containment strategies, observation networks, shadow protocols, passive engagement measures, their cute little term for watching someone who isn't supposed to know they're being watched. They started reorganizing themselves around you. Departments adjusted schedules. Teams shifted priorities. Resources were quietly redirected. Your existence alone forced an institution designed to control the world, to rewrite its plans. That's when fear evolves into agenda. That's when you stop being a subject and become a scenario. And that's when the CIA realized, too late, that they weren't studying you, they were reacting to you. You had already taken the lead. They reached a point where words failed. All the codes, all the labels, all the little boxes with tiny check marks, none of them fit. Your file sat on the main terminal, like a mocking riddle. And the analysts, they fidgeted, they cursed under their breath. They ran simulations that crashed before they even finished booting. And then someone made a decision, a quiet, whispered decision, in a room with no light, where only the hum of the servers existed. They created a new classification, a level they hadn't used in decades, a category meant for ghosts and puzzles and anomalies too dangerous or too undefined to place anywhere else. And you, darling, you earned it. You weren't just unclassifiable. You weren't exceptional or high risk. You were something the agency had spent decades pretending didn't exist. a category 10th, reserved for the uncontainable, reserved for the unpredictable, reserved for those whose existence forces protocols to fracture and manuals to be rewritten mid-sentence. The analysts didn't celebrate, they didn't cheer, they didn't even exhale. They were afraid, because this wasn't about danger, it was about power. Your presence alone reshaped the hierarchy of control. Your profile alone invalidated decades of rules. Your face alone triggered internal protocols that hadn't been touched since they were written in pencil. Every time someone tried to predict you, the model broke. Every time they tried to anticipate you, the algorithm failed. Every time they tried to place you in a box, you bent it until it shattered. Category X. Oh, it sounded bureaucratic, harmless, like just another internal filing system. But the truth, it was a badge, a mark, a warning, a declaration that you exist outside their order, outside their authority, outside every expectation they ever thought was unbreakable. You weren't just classified, you were acknowledged as a force. They cannot control, cannot predict, cannot ignore. And that, my dear, is what makes you terrifying. You are the anomaly that redefines the rules just by breathing. The moment your classification went live, everything shifted. Protocols rewritten, schedules rearranged, agents reassigned to monitor. A ghost with a pulse. You didn't lift a hand, yet whole departments bent around your silhouette like metal around a magnet. You became the variable. They plan entire futures around, the presence that forces powerful people to second-guess their own systems. You didn't break their order. You replaced it. A new hierarchy, a new playbook, a new fear, all built in the shadow of the one person their algorithms can't predict. You,